which team made the most important move yesterday? Which team was the biggest winner, I guess is the easiest way to put it, of trade deadline day?
If I singled one out, it would be Aaron Gordon. I'd put him number one. I'd put Rajon Rondo at 1A going to the Clippers. So let's start with Aaron Gordon. I look at that team and I say, all right, they've got an MVP candidate. They've got Jamal Murray, who showed you last year what he's capable of doing in a big moment in the playoffs. You know, Michael Porter Jr. is a guy I think is going to get there as their third star. He's starting to get his legs under him. He missed some time early in the year. And he's getting better every night. So he might be there and, have arrived by the time they get to the postseason. So that's a lot of firepower already. And then you go out and you add a guy that is a perfect complementary piece to what you already have because of his defensive abilities. Aaron Gordon is a guy with his body type, his athletic ability. He is made to guard the guys you're going to have to guard in the Western Conference. When you look at LeBron, AD, you look at Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, he's got the athletic ability, the lateral speed to guard smaller players. He's got the physical strength to guard bigger guys. And the best part about him, you don't have to really change anything offensively to incorporate him in. I mean, a lot of the guys that change teams, you immediately think, well, how's that going to work offensively with what that team already has? It's not the case with Aaron Gordon. He's not a slouch offensively, but you don't need to run stuff for him to get benefit from him every night. And if you have a situation – we're in a postseason, and, Michael Porter Jr. is having a rough night or Jamal Murray's not playing well, he is capable of having a 20-point game when you need it. But he's also giving you all these other things defensively. So I think for them to round out their starting lineup with what they already have by getting Aaron Gordon, that to me is the big winner of the day. Rondo would be a close second because you talk about a guy tailor-made to give a team what they lack. The Clippers have no vocal leadership. They need to get smarter on the floor. They need a guy that's not going to wilt when the lights get turned up in the postseason. He's got an incredible postseason resume of having massive moments for teams he's been on when they needed it. I don't think the Lakers win last year without Rajon Rondo, even at this stage of his career. So to add that to a Clippers team that has a lot of doubts about their ability to get it done in the postseason and lack of leadership on that team, that also, to me, a home run.
Greeny and Timmy Legler with me here. Let's make this Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, Tim. Denver is not Los Angeles, and the Nuggets have basically no history, and the Lakers have all the history. But if we just reversed the uniforms, if the Denver Nuggets, as currently constituted after yesterday, were actually the Los Angeles Lakers, wouldn't we be saying they are the team to beat for the championship this year, or at least in the West?
No, that's a great point. That's an absolute great point. It's a fair point, too. But I think it's also, for some people, would be selling Denver short to think they can't get it done the way they're constructed. This isn't a team with no playoff experience. Yeah. And that's the thing that I think sometimes you forget because they aren't the marquee, sexy team that the Lakers are. They're not on national TV as much. They're starting to get there because Jokic is such a fun player to watch, and he's such a unique player in the way that he dominates and controls the game. And they've got playoff experience. They went to the conference finals a year ago. They beat the Clippers. This is a team that is on the cusp. They're incredibly well coached. So you're right. I think if you had this starting five and just about anywhere else in these major cities in the league, you would be looking at them as the favorite to win the championship. Maybe outside of Brooklyn, because those three guys being put together in a major market like Brooklyn. If those three guys are all healthy, to me, it's how are you supposed to come up with something defensively to stop that? We haven't seen those guys together very much, so that still has to be answered. But, man, that's the greatest collection of offensive talent, top three guys of any roster in the history of this league in terms of raw scoring power. So maybe outside of them. But if you put Denver and any of these other cities that we're talking about all the time, yeah, I think you're right because that's how good their starting five is.
Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. And so as a final thought here, because you bring up the Nets, they remain the most interesting thing. If they're healthy and they don't win it, what will the reason be? If I have you on this radio show the day after they get knocked out of the playoffs, wherever they do, even if it's the finals, and all three of those guys were playing, what will be the reason they didn't win it?
It could be one of two things. One could be they find themselves in tough spots and they end up playing my turn, your turn type basketball. And that's gotten some of those guys in trouble in the past and other places they've been. It's been the reason James Harden has had a difficult time breaking through. it definitely was the reason that Oklahoma City couldn't break through when Kevin Durant was paired with Russell Westbrook. It's the reason the Boston Celtics failed a couple of years when Kyrie Irving was there, because they try to do too much in the moment to bail their team out, because they always think, all three of them think, they're the best option at that time. So that could be one reason. And then, defensively, they find themselves in some big moments, and they're just not able to get done defensively what they need to. But I don't think either one of those things can happen. They answered the first one for the most part, because Kyrie Irving and James Harden have proven they're comfortable in their respective lanes that they have been put in with this team. It is clearly James Harden's team. And Kyrie Irving accepting that and being more of an off-ball scorer and thriving in that role as he did next to LeBron James. He's doing a similar thing here next to James Harden. They solved a lot of that. And then Kevin Durant, it doesn't matter who he's playing with. It seems like he can just go get 30 effortlessly. He doesn't care who's going to over-dribble the ball or what else. I'm just going to get mine when I get mine and do it efficiently. So I don't think that would be the problem. But if you're asking me to give you a reason, that would probably be why.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.